I am going to share some things that would help you either prepare for a better application cycle or some things that you could do to evaluate yourself and see where the weak areas were or are and improve on it so that the next time you cast that net inside, you will catch a very big juicy fish. Okay, let us go ahead and dive right in. Hey, welcome to Winie Student World. I'm Winnie, and today we are going to talk about what to do after a failed application cycle. I know. See, those things can be very Woo. All the money and the time and the prayers and the begging for recommendation letters and the tracking down transcripts depending on where you stay in the world, and to have all that happen and either don't get admitted by any school or you get admitted and nobody gives you funding and so you can't go. It is painful, it is not fun, it is heavy, it could actually be quite it could be, I get it. I completely understand. And I'm sending you hugs from here and encouraging you that it doesn't have to be the end of your journey. Not everybody gets this the first time. Not even everybody gets this the second time, right? What makes the difference is how you improve yourself in each cycle to make sure that your chances are better for what you missed or what really could be better the next time around. I am going to share some things that would help you either prepare for a better application cycle or some things that you could do to evaluate yourself and see where the weak areas were or are and improve on it so that the next time you cast that net inside, you will catch a very big juicy fish. Okay, let us go ahead and dive right in. Welcome back. The very first thing that you want to do after a failed application cycle is to reach out to the schools that you apply to and see if they're going to give you feedback about why you were either not selected or why you were not funded. Now, there's a chance that the school may give you a very vague response, something along the lines of there were many strong applicants, it was such a hard decision to pick the right person. It doesn't mean that you're not a great student, it just means that we had more people to choose from or stronger people to choose from, and that doesn't necessarily help you. So there's always a risk that you're going to get that response, or you apply to one of those schools that just say don't even bother asking us, we don't have time to respond to that, we get too many applications and so we don't have time to tell you why we did not like you, right? So if you are in one of those two categories, this may not work as well. But if you apply to one of those schools that have a personal touch, that's what I call it, with their students, right? They'll actually say, reach out to us, we'll tell you what was wrong, or reach out to us, we'll tell you where there was some weaknesses, or they'll even say, after so and so date, email us or have somebody meet with you and tell you how to make your application stronger for next cycle. If you are in one of those schools, that is a very good opportunity for you to take advantage of. Like, that is something that could really be a game changer, because they could tell you what they were looking for that they did not see. But not just that, they would also tell you what other admission officers or admission committees are looking for that you currently do not have. It's like a cheat sheet to the exam before you now take it again. So if you apply to one of those schools, I highly recommend that you email them. Even if you don't know for sure, I still suggest that you email all the schools that you applied to that either didn't admit you or didn't fund you and ask them, hey, this is me, I applied this cycle, didn't get in. I appreciate the opportunity to even apply and be reviewed, but I wanted to find out what I could do to be a stronger applicant for the next cycle, because I really want to go here and I want to make sure that the next time I put in an application, I would have a better chance at getting in. That's the first thing you should do. The second thing to do is to reevaluate your school choices. You have heard me say a variation of this before, and I will keep saying it. What are the schools that you applied to? Are they all up there? Because we all want to enter the schools that are sounding gym, right? When in reality, it does not affect the quality of education we necessarily get. prestige means so many different things, but it doesn't always mean a better education. But I know the world we live in, and if you say you went to a certain school, you get more versus other schools that are just as good or even better that don't have that name recognition. Look at your school list. Did you apply to schools just so that you could, have the name cred or the street cred? Or did you actually apply to schools that are interested in international students? There is a difference. Or interested in diversifying their school body. Or even more specifically, interested in an applicant like you. Look at your school choices. Did you only apply to schools in one state? Or did you only apply to schools in one area? Can you spread out your choices? Can you launch into places that are looking for people like you that they did not see in the last application cycle, right? Can you expand your school choices, right? Look at those lists of schools and think about ways that you could tweak it, add to it, take away from it, revamp it for the next time you apply to programs. Because if a school is telling you that they had too many applicants that were just as great, maybe it means that you need to add more schools, because some schools don't get the same number of applicants that are, in quotes, great, and you could maybe stand out more in another program versus a program that you really want to get into. I know, but expanding your choices could really help you be successful the next time around you apply. The next thing is to review your timeline of submission. This happens a lot, right? You could be an excellent student, the best of the best, but you applied on the last day, the deadline, like that. Bam, that's when you applied. By the time you applied, because it was rolling admission, their class was full, or their class was remaining one spot, and so many factors went into who they chose for that one spot that there was no way it could have been you, right? This happens to a lot of people. They're like, I want to apply, but they don't actually get their act together until March next year, right? And they're trying to apply when the admission cycle is ending. Was that you? Did you apply too late in the cycle? Did you apply at a point when they had filled their class more than halfway and the competition was now more steep for you at the time your application was in? Remember how open and lenient and kind and generous that an admission committee will be when they have nobody that they have offered admission to. Is very different from how they would review your application when they have 2 spots out of 50 remaining. So when did you apply, and can you apply earlier in the new cycle? The next thing, and I highly recommend this, is a professional review of your application. If you can afford it, or if you're in the position to get that, do it. Because a lot of times you want somebody who has an eye for applications, right? And knows what you could be missing, what could be stronger, what could have made a difference. Somebody who has some kind of experience that can help you really say, aha, this is where the hole was that you need to plug, right? We do have something available for undergrad and graduate students here at Winie Student World. I highly recommend it. It's great. But whether you go to us or go somewhere else, you want a professional review of your application if you can afford it. Or even if it's not a professional review, what about other people that you trust in your circle? Can they review your application for you, right? Do you have a teacher, a professor, an older sibling who is a professional, somebody who can be an outsider who will look in and say, this personal statement is quite confusing. I don't know what you want to do with your life after reading this. Or somebody who could look at your CV and say, very scattered. Can you reorganize this better so that you look better on paper than you currently do? Either way, have another set of eyes review your application. It is very helpful. The next thing is you want to boost your CV or resume with more experiences and more skills and, add more juice to it. As a matter of fact, this is my tip, personal recommendation. Don't always or don't ever assume that an application cycle will go well. If you're watching this and you're currently applying, act like this cycle is going to finish and you don't know whether you're going to get in or not. That's how I want you to act. Act that way. right? Because if you act that way, then you'll be more intentional about how you spend your time and what you do to actually improve yourself. So as you are applying, keep building your CV. Like if you're going to reapply to that school, make sure that they're not seeing the same CV or resume they saw the last time, because that just means that you have confirmed their suspicion that you're not a good student, because the way they saw you in August or September 2019 is exactly who you are in August or September 2021. Not good at all. The next thing I want you to do or to consider doing is retaking your standardized tests or examinations, right? Were your scores average? Were they low? Could you increase them, boost them up? Because chances are, if it came down to the wire and they are like, we're going to pick the person with the higher GRE score, we're going to pick the person with the higher, in TOEFL or IELTS score, was that what, affected you the last time? If you have the resources, can you redo those examinations and make yourself again look better on paper? Even if not those actual examinations, can you actually take more or take something else that is a test or an exam or a program or a course that adds more to you academically, that makes you look better academically, that shows that you are still keeping your brain active and working, while you're waiting to reapply or while you were waiting for an admission decision, right? That's also another tip. The last but not the least is to review your course interest. What did you say you were interested in? Was it a good fit? I can't tell you how many times I have seen this play out, right? Somebody would die on a mountain of, I want to do astrophysics, for example. That's an example, right? They want to do astrophysics. And they have a very good, compelling case for why they want to do astrophysics. The problem, however, is there is nothing in their undergraduate, maybe training or courses. There's nothing in their experience. There's no research. There's no conference. There's no skill. There's, absolutely nothing that ties them to a graduate course in astrophysics, except maybe an undergraduate degree in physics or something even less. That's an example, right? You see this a lot in the sciences too. When they studied maybe biochemistry and they want to apply, to a master's program in zoology, right? Because it's under the same biology department, you're saying, now I want to do animals, which is very valid, except what's the connection? What's the link, right? A lot of people have started out a particular course, and then once they take some electives, they then transition into exactly what they want to do. So I'm not discouraging you from pursuing your dream or following your heart's desire when it comes to a career or a program or a course. But sometimes the course that you have picked is not a good fit for you based on your educational background, your experiences, and maybe even what you wrote in your personal statement. So taking a step back and looking and saying, this thing I want to do, does it look like me at all, right? Is this something that is really who I am? Could be a way to then check and see whether you need to pick another course, or you need to strengthen the case for that course in your application, or you need to look at another program entirely. Now, I know field application cycles can be hard, but I hope these tips I have shared with you would help you prepare a stronger application the next time around. Until I come your way again, please follow us on our social media platforms that are currently floating on the screen. You could go to our website and subscribe, get our newsletter that shares tips, university scholarships, immigration news, different things to keep you up to date. All right. As always, tell me what you think in the comment section in the chat. I want to hear it. Until I see you next time,